Hi everyone, and welcome to the Thinking Round. I'm Ivelisse del Carmen, musician, songwriter, and artist. This podcast is a space for open, honest conversations about creativity, identity, and the realities of being an artist today. Before we dive in, I want to be clear. This conversation is not about generalizing or demonizing men. When we speak about men, we're referring to specific individuals who have shaped our experiences in the music industry. And we recognize that some may not have even realized the impact of their words or actions. By sharing our perspective, we hope to encourage understanding and help men navigate their relationships with women in a more mindful way. We'll also discuss unsolicited advice, especially about our appearance and self-expression. This isn't about rejecting constructive criticism. Feedback is essential to growth, but there's a difference between thoughtful critique and objectification or prescriptive comments that limit an artist's creative autonomy. That's what we're addressing today. I invite you to approach this episode with an open mind. And before we begin, I want to thank the amazing men in my life, advisors, colleagues, coaches, friends, and family who have offered their support. You are seen and appreciated. Thank you for listening. Now, let's get into the conversation. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Thinking Round. I'm your host, Ivelisse del Carmen. Today we're tackling an issue that so many female artists face in the music industry: constant objectification, unsolicited opinions about our appearance, and even being told what kind of music we should make. I'm joined by my amazing friend and fellow musician, Phoebe from Phoebes and the Queen, who has first-hand experience with this. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's dive right in. You've been in the music industry for how long?
Well, what is the music industry? Firstly, it's a wide-ranging thing, as we both discussed quite a lot. But I've been gigging in bands since I was 13. So to tell you how long that is to disclose my age, but we're talking 30 plus years.
Can you share some of the ways you've experienced objectification or inappropriate comments as a musician?
Well, I mean, yeah, in that first band I was talking about, it was there were four of us, and obviously I was the singer, and then our drummer was a woman as well, and we would turn up to these gigs, and people would say, "Oh, two singers in this band," and my friend would be like, "I'm a drummer," and then very very capable of carrying her kit and all the heavy hardware that comes with it, and men like ripping it off her hands and just like, "I'll help you up with that," and just go, you don't need to. She's a drummer. She's like really good arm strength, and all of that business. When I was 17, I was offered a record contract by a massive label, on the proviso that I lost 4 stone in weight. I know, and it was the 90s. I mean, Kate Moss was the it girl, and I did have that weight on me, but it kind of stopped that opportunity for me. And then I probably spent about 4 or 5 years not doing any music at all, because I just thought I was too fat for it. And then I realized that if I don't do music, I'm crazy and I need to do it. So I started getting into sort of North London local music scenes in sort of my early to mid 20s, and really grew into the notion of being a songwriter with a guitar, late 20s, early 30s. And now, of course, how I know you is we're doing a master's in songwriting, which is a really interesting area of thinking, because music isn't just about commercial, it isn't just capitalism. It's actually a lot more about that community and therapy and awareness and understanding and knowledge development, as well as knowledge transfer between people. Folk songs, for example, tell stories through generations, down the generation, so to speak. So, and in all of that, certainly being a slightly older woman now, I notice how some opportunities don't seem to come as easily as they used to. Um, and I was joking with a friend recently actually about how choosing outfits for gigs is a different affair if you're wearing a guitar and if you're not wearing a guitar. So,
Of course.
I might wear a pair of trousers that I don't, I'm kind of all right with because I'm covering up my front with a guitar. That I wouldn't dream of wearing if I was just me and the mic, because you can't hide behind a mic stand, even though I think everybody tries. Um, and actually, why are those thought processes very common amongst women? I have to dress right, I have to be skinny, I can't have lumps and bumps on me, I've got to have makeup on. I actually went through a period of time where I, as a political act, didn't wear makeup on stage. But then I decided I didn't like the photos that were taken. So it's like
Well,
I've got this
but it's
conflict.
you who decides, oh, I'm wearing makeup because I want to look better in the pictures.
Totally. And I'm not trying to be a commercial pop artist. And I think maybe if I had wanted to do that, I would have to make sure I went to the gym every day and had, you know, gotten already successful before I was 20. You know, because it's ridiculous. I was talking to
Isn't that
somebody,
screwed up though?
it's actually, I mean, I'm gonna use a big word here, which is
Go for
potentially,
it.
I think it's a bit paedophiliac. Why this obsession with youth? Why do we only want to watch singers, women singers who are like, just look like children or not fully fledged women yet? Why do we only want to hear songs from women that are about how she loves him and how he's wonderful or how he cheated or how I cheat? Like, I really enjoy Sabrina Carter because she's got that edge. She's commercial, she's huge, she's really doing the big thing, and she's got the look. She's playing the look game, but what she's talking about is,
Course, and we're not hating on other female musicians. What we're saying is that this industry for some reason makes you as a woman think, it throws at you first of all these things that men do not have to deal with.
how many
um
guitarists go on stage in a t-shirt and a pair of
a
jeans?
t-shirt and jeans, right?
Billie
And
Eilish is a good one as well. That she's in a massive jumper on stage. I'm like, come on, girl.
And she did get a lot of, criticized. She
Yeah, and like,
got criticized for it a lot. Um, but it's how she feels comfortable. Is
and and actually a really important message for the young women out there, the young nearly women, the girls, the teenagers. You don't have to like show off your figure line in order to get attention and be successful.
you
You
don't,
can have it.
but if
You
you
can have a
want to,
line.
you can. You know,
I mean,
but if you want to, you can.
yeah.
And as an older artist, am I allowed to show? I'm
Who
not
said?
18. Am I allowed to show? Am I allowed to wear the skimpy dress and be foxy and be? Am I allowed? Do
Uh,
I have to think about how am I going to be perceived by men? Are they going to like it? Cause I'm a certain age. I'm not that young anymore. Am I
there's two
allowed to
things
do
there,
this?
isn't there? There's two things. There's your audience, and then there's your, the budget holders around, venue owners, distributors, record contracts, all of that kind of thing. How many women are in those roles booking women? There's many venues that have regular music that don't necessarily have many women playing on the bill regularly. I was once told by somebody, well, we don't book any women because women don't play the blues. What? What? Maybe maybe the women that play the blues don't come here because they don't feel very safe in your very
Or
male-dominated bar.
comfortable
Yeah,
just being themselves?
yeah.
And I think that's the main the message I wanted to bring in this podcast. I think as a woman, you really need to stand your ground. You really need to say, this is who I am. This is who I am. And I'm in charge of my image. I'm in charge. My music, it's something I make to share with the world. My image, what I do with myself, how I show myself to the world, it's my own. It's you know,
I think there's also
it's
something
not for
about
you to have an opinion on, or you can have an opinion,
keep it
big
to yourself.
artists
Yeah.
big artists get this criticism about their noses, their physical appearance, their what they were, if they look fat, if they look too skinny, and this and that. We all have all this judgment, and it's like, have you looked at the mirror? Not because you're a public, not because you decide to put yourself out there, you deserve that, or
Yeah.
you are expecting people to give you advice or on anything.
Yeah, I think there's also, I mean, Taylor, I was reading something about Taylor Swift and how one of her albums, which is, critically acclaimed, didn't do so well in terms of sales, like maybe like late 2009, 2010 kind of time, because of what was going on in her public life around her partnership. So she was going through a breakup, and then, her work wasn't pushed as much. And I mean, that's like on a massive scale, but she's a really good role model for standing out and doing it.
Definitely.
But then there's also something, and I'm sure this happens with other people that aren't, who don't fit the mold, like either young, skinny woman who does as she's told by the men behind the scenes, or, young white boy that plays great guitar, or, there's lots of barriers. And like Beyonce, for example, doing a great thing for people of color and country music in America, for example, but I think there's something about, if you're an instrumentalist as a woman, you kind of have to be better than you would be if you were a bloke. If you fit the mold and you, I don't know, approach venues or approach PR or whatever, say, can we work together on some stuff? You might have to email 4 times if you're a woman, because they disregard you to begin with, or you have to work harder to prove yourself.
But
And I
that's
think
in this industry and other industries,
all industry,
for every woman.
it's all over the place, but it's really pronounced, because I think that the shame about all of this, certainly coming from my perspective as an older woman, is I write more interesting songs now I'm older. I have more to say about the world, but I probably would have been given a much easier platform to speak when I was younger than I am now. And it's and that's a complete assumption. I don't know how true that is, but there is something about not being discouraged, and also about staying safe. I mean, I can think of some environments I've been in that haven't felt safe, doing session work and going to some studio at Unit 3 of such and such under so-and-so bridge, and you walk 10 minutes from the tube station or the train station, or some guy says, I'll pick you up from the train station and I'll take you to the studio. And there you are in the studio with 3 men in the middle of nowhere. And maybe they don't pay you for those backing vocals, and yet you've gone there and done these things. I've been really lucky. I've never really felt, I've never been approached in a way that I couldn't handle that. And I've always worked with, I'd say, respectful men. But I can just imagine the risk for women working alone in a really male-dominated environment. I've been in bands, I've been on tours where I am the only woman, and I'm turning up at the gig with I am the only woman, and that's the pressure. Certainly, if there are some attitudes and behaviours that are illegal, but not recognised that much as sexual harassment or whatever. But you can understand, can't you, why some women would just be put off by that. They're
I
just
have another question for you.
go on.
Unsolicited advice, like you should write this kind of music, or this would sell better. Um, how do you
Where
think
those
that
things.
how do you think unsolicited advice diminishes creative autonomy? Do you
Wow.
believe like it has some influence? And here I have my 5 cents for it.
Well, I think unsolicited advice is going to happen. If you put yourself in the public eye, on stage, on social media, you're going to get that. And people do that for a range of reasons. Creative autonomy, interesting, because we are responsible for that in ourselves. And yet we must be understanding that if you got a lot of unsolicited advice, such a hard word to say, unsolicited advice, then you would maybe just get downhearted and then stop. So there is something about really whatever spiritual practice you might have, whatever it is for you, is like really working on your sense of self and really like on a daily basis. I am enough. I am good. My creative decisions are right. And I will listen to advice, but I will only take it on if I agree. And that's a life's work, really. And if that's about like the songwriting, the performance or whatever, an audience member has feedback, it's worth paying attention to, because at the end of the day, you're seeking connection. If somebody's trolling you on a social media post that you've done, something that's already done, finished, and then they're just being mean about it, then there is probably some prejudice going on from the person that's giving you that advice. I know many men who write music and perform music and post on social media, make videos and stuff, that have that experience of unsolicited advice and then having to work through, is this something I agree with? But it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to see actual statistics around how often, because that notion of mansplaining, women get unsolicited advice about loads of things all the time. So it's like, there might be somebody in the, I offer unsolicited advice sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
And we all do.
I'm coming from a good space. I'm coming from hey, that was a great show. It would be really great if, you told us what the songs meant before you started them. That was a brilliant show. I loved that. Tell us what the songs were about on, in intro, if you want. Versus, well, I think if you're going to be successful, you should wear shorter dresses and blah, blah, blah. Like, what?
Yeah.
If it's about what you look like, then I swear down, women get that sort of unsolicited advice
I really don't
way
like it.
more often than men do. It's not
I
okay.
remember 12 years ago, when I released my first album, I started getting a lot of unsolicited advice. I keep telling people, and this, I think the first person who pointed it out was you, at a thinking round, that when I said, I just want to be who I used to be, I'm
Yeah.
just, I want to have that confidence again, that, and go back to that. And you said something around, well, maybe you were not prepared for it. Maybe you were not ready. What you were a decade ago, that you thought you were so confident and do all this, maybe you were not ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready because after I put myself out there, I started getting the unsolicited advice. And what that did to me was to make me want to stop being the face of my face.
And being in front of it, yeah.
I
Protection.
didn't want to perform. I didn't want to sing in front of anybody anymore. On top of that, Phoebe, I was not in a good place emotionally stable. I was very insecure about a lot of things that with age I've overcome. But the thing is that when I got unsolicited advice like, oh, you would sound better singing some other type of music. This music, it's not really for you. I would say, thank you for your, thank you for coming to me with that. And that would add another layer on top of my already insecure, you know? And I do think unsolicited advice can, if you're not prepared for it, if you're not emotionally in a good place, if you're not ready to say, can really have influence the way you create. Because
your creation.
I stopped writing because I thought the music I am making, it's not for me. I cannot sing it.
Because there's this other thing that comes in. It's taken me a long time in my life to disregard the opinion of men just because they're men. You know, it's like I used to take all opinion. And when I get older, I recognize that person I respect, I'll take their opinion.
That person I respect. And
the
thing is,
doesn't matter.
But when you get unsolicited advice from fellow musicians, for example, like happened to me a day ago.
Yes, tell us about
having your videos are. I've never seen reels like the way you're doing it. Good job. Good job. But I really don't like the videos where have your boobies out.
Which it wasn't.
Well, and if it was, who are you? And then who asked you also? Did you know that I recorded that video and I know that boobies out and I still posted it? Do you think you need to come here and tell me about it? Because, you know, and also saying, great song, you wrote it, right?
Oh, that one. Did you write that?
Did you write that?
Yes.
It would be a hit if someone else, this artist, sang it.
It's weird that, isn't it? Because there's a capitalistic view here. Why do we create music? Do we do it to make money? Do we do it to share, to get connection? You know, and I think,
you know, we all create, and some want to share, some others don't want to share. In my personal thing going on, I share my music because making music makes me happy.
I shared that happiness. Yeah.
When I shared my music a decade ago, it was different. I really wanted to become an artist. I'm already an artist, but I really wanted to be commercial. And now it's different, baby. I'm sharing my music. I am making it myself. Yeah. I am making an investment on myself. And like Elizabeth Gilbert says, support your own art and do not ask your art to support you.
Yeah, don't burden your creativity with making it pay its way.
Exactly. So
that really affected me, that quote.
That's amazing.
I read that in the book and just went, oh, hang on, I need to think about that for a week.
It changes your
freedom,
perspective.
If somebody's paying to do that, they have a right to say what you should do.
Exactly.
And I'm like, actually, I don't want your investment if you're going to tell me what to write and sing.
Yeah.
So
you were going to tell me how to look and how to what I should be saying and the type of music I should be singing or composing.
Because there is something about needing to build team and wanting a range of perspectives. Like I might want to work with somebody that's experienced in fashion and clothing and design and style to help me form an artist identity, a visual artist identity. But those sorts of consultants or advisors, you'd want to allow in after some form of checking or recruitment. I trust this person. I like this person. I like their style. I want their opinion. Can I ask you to help me? Quite an interesting time. I mean, outside of music, there's a lot of right-wing, anti-feminist content out there on our feeds. There's quite a lot of that what's happening in America around pro-choice and all of that. It's really we've definitely gone backwards when it comes to feminism. Better write some songs about it, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Phoebe, what do you think fans can do to support women in music and push back maybe against objectification?
Well, support their shows, tell their friends about it, maybe even start to create themselves. I mean, how many female fans are out there wishing it was them, but they never really got the opportunity or the chance or whatever? So, do it yourself as well. Join the crowd of people writing and doing it. When you're in a venue that you maybe not bought a ticket to a particular show, but you're in a venue that plays live music, ask the people that are there, do you ever have any female artists play here? There's something within that around, the difference between going somewhere and listening to covers songs versus actually wanting to go and hear original music. Go out to the places to hear original music. Follow, like, subscribe, as they always say.
Subscribe, please subscribe.
Yeah, and maybe, and this is, with the caveat of always look after your safety, but maybe even, agree to disagree with the people that think they should have an opinion about what she looks like. She should be on. It's like Susan Boyle. Were you in this country with Susan when she was on? I mean, she came on the stage on Britain's Got Talent, and people were laughing. Simon
I wasn't here, but I did watch.
And
I remember.
She sang, and yet she's still kind of ridiculed. She's not just a woman; she's also a disabled woman. She's got mental health needs and all of that kind of business. I think that's really that really shows the teeth and the dark side of the entertainment industry. I mean, we're talking from a music point of view here, but Kate Blanchett, Helen Mirren, all of them talking about roles for women in Hollywood, how women, the Me Too movement, is really the entertainment industry and what we want to put on our screens and in our ears around the acceptable vision of women versus what is probably more true, and that women aren't just one type of person. We're just human beings.
We are.
To have all the complexities of other human beings, all that happen to be male, or not.
The other half, it happens to be male.
We're all the same, really.
We are.
And the fact we get treated differently based on what we look like is bizarre. I've never really understood it, which is probably why I do what I do.
Yep. And I'm trying to do something here too, but I really need to build a thicker skin. I'm gonna lose a lot of people.
Thicker skin. Maybe it's about grace. Like just going, poor person. That's the way they see the world.
Yeah.
How can I help you? What an awful opinion that is. How might I help you? Enlighten. Oh, judgmental one. What a way to live in the world if you're always criticizing other people. Ugh. I would find that life really unhappy if that was my life. I'd much rather accept people. Be rageful. But rage is also very valid.
I think to be vocal, when your mother used to say, at least mine, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep it to yourself.
Unsolicited advice. But if you've got a response to somebody saying something not nice to you, then rage is valid. Maybe not useful. Maybe not useful, but definitely valid.
No, maybe not useful, but it's like when you're itchy, to scratch a lot, it's not useful. You can really make that a wound, like a bad wound.
Great analogy.
But it feels so good to scratch. So sometimes the anger needs to come out.
Better out than in, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Phoebe, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and insights.
Thanks for having me.
This conversation really hit home, and I hope it resonates with our listeners. Thank you. Ciao. That's it for today's episode of The Thinking Round. Thank you, Phoebe. And guys, I hope this conversation gave you something to reflect and maybe even a new perspective to consider. If you enjoyed this discussion, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. We've got plenty more conversations coming your way. Thank you for listening and for keeping an open mind and for being part of this space. Until next time, take care and keep thinking.